Greetings, Internet! Welcome to Bookworm Reviews. I'm your host, the Bookworm. I talked a bit about how reading certain books can show the good in you, the bad in you, and the dark secrets we sometimes hide ourselves from rather than face them. This one falls under the latter. But before we begin, I must start off with a confession. This isn't easy for me to say. I'm not sure how you guys will react. Some of you might see me as being brave. Others might not care one way or the other. Or some of you might see me as a freak, a sexual deviant, or an offense to God. But I can't be afraid of what others think of me. My name is David Popovich. I host a web show about books, and I'm a furry. So sit back and relax as we dive into Waterways by Kyle Gold.
He's a real nowhere man.
Oh, and on a lesser note, I'm also gay. Continue.
Sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view. No.
Under the water, everything else disappeared. The heavy, dry world dragged him down, but the water was his element. Corey wished he could go to school in the water. In the Northwest, he heard there were aquatic schools for otters, beavers, mink, and water rats. But he didn't live in the Northwest, and there were no aquatic schools in Hilltown. Only 2 public pools even, and they were always crowded with non-aquatic kids splashing around and screaming in the shallow water. He cut from one side of the deep end to the other, holding his breath as long as he could so that he could knife through the water, eyes open but unfocused, reveling in the rush through his fur. The low rumble that was all the outside world filtered through its insulating layers. In the water, he could go anywhere, do anything. A shadow lurched toward him. He changed direction fast, and stars exploded around his head as he hit something much harder than water. He pressed both his webbed paws to his head, bobbing to the surface, kicking to keep himself afloat. He leaned against the edge of the pool. The shock wore off quickly, letting him sharp, searing pain. Ow, 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 ow. Man, I'm really sorry, said a low tenor voice behind him. He smelled wet fur and musk. You okay? Yeah. He found the spot on his head that had hit the wall, probed with his fingers, and winced. Experimentally, he ducked under the water, but the coolness only smoothed a little, and his head started to throb from the pressure. Time to get out, definitely. He broke the surface again, hung there and sighed. Behind him, the same tenor voice said, "It doesn't look too bad." Corey figured the guy would have taken off once he said he was okay. He turned and looked up. Crouched to the side of the pool, a young fox about his age smiled back at him. His fur was the color of night, glossy with water, except just under his throat, where a shock of white dripped. His long tail lay curled behind him, plastered to the tile around his long legs. I mean, there's no blood in the water, he went on. He had deep, dark eyes, but his smile was warm and genuine. Reflexively, Corey sniffed his paw. No, I'll be fine. Just need some rest. If there was blood, the fox went on, you have to watch out for the sharks. Corey blinked at him. Yeah, he said slowly. Those pool sharks are bad news. The fox laughed. A sense of humor is a good sign. You probably don't have a concussion. Concussion? My mom's a nurse, the fox said. Concussions can be pretty bad, and the victim might not know he's got one. He stroked his chin with a paw. You probably shouldn't swim anymore. I know it's not my business. Wasn't planning on it, Corey said. He rested his elbows on the edge of the pool, looking up at the fox. Then, the fox looked away. Can I buy you a coffee or something? I feel really bad about that still. Besides, if you got a concussion, you might lose consciousness in the next hour. Corey was about to say no, but the clock on the wall behind the fox caught his eye. It wasn't even 3 yet, and he hoped to stay out until at least 4, which would get him home just in time for dinner. And then he looked at the fox again, at the deep black fur and the patch of white fur on his chest, and the smile under the dark eyes. And something made him say, "Sure, great." The fox stuck out a paw. "I'm Samaki. Corey." Corey's high school life is not looking good right now. He's being bullied for a poem his teacher put up at school, his girlfriend just broke up with him, and the loom of college is hanging over his head. To escape it all, just for a bit, he goes to a local pool and by accident meets a black fox named Samaki. The two spend the afternoon together, and it seems they will become good friends. But Corey feels Samaki's actions today were more like he was coming on to him. Worse yet, he feels he might be coming on to him too. So begins a tale of self-discovery. God damn, do I love this book. This is one of my personal favorites, because of all the books I've read thus far, this is the one that has affected me the most. This is the book that made me confront the fact that I'm gay. The reason for that is, I not only relate to Corey, I am, for the most part, Corey. When I read this wasn't a book where you were looking at a mirror. This was a book where you saw all the cracks and flaws I inflicted on it, caused from so many years I tried to hide myself from myself. I always thought throughout my life that these feelings I have for men were wrong, sinful, an abomination that you need to work to cure yourself from. But all I was doing was making myself worse. There were many nights I remember begging God to please help me fight these urges and let me purge this disease from my mind. And then I read the second part of the book. Let me explain. The book is actually a series of 3 novellas, each designed to represent Corey's coming of age. When I discovered the story, I actually read the second of the novellas, not knowing it was part of a larger story. And from the first paragraph, I was hooked and read the entire thing overnight. Reading Corey's experience was like someone took all my thoughts, fears, and desires and put it up for me to find. In fact, I'm not the only one who has had that experience. If anything, it shows Kyle Gold's writing on how he knows the experience of confronting your sexuality. There is one thing I must warn you guys if you decide to read this. This book has sex. Gay sex. Between an otter and a fox. That might turn some of you off. Now, let me counter it with the fact that this is a romance story about an otter that is discovering for the first time that he has an interest in males, and the fox becomes his love interest. Here may be a shock for some of you, but love doesn't stop at the kiss. Yes, for some it will feel dirty to read. But like any good romance, the sex is used to add to the plot. There is a reason for it. They are used as moments to look at Corey's progress, and none of it is forced. A gay romance story between an otter and a fox. The things this book is making me say. While we're here, let's quickly talk about furries. People from the furry community are just that. People. We just have an interest in seeing anthropomorphic animals in our media. We are no different from people who like sci-fi, fantasy, steampunk, anime, mystery, Star Wars, Star Trek, video games, and anything else that has attracted people with similar interests. I could spend a whole video talking about furries and fandom as a whole, but we're getting off track. I like anthropomorphic animals. I'm interested in seeing how a world filled with anthropomorphic animals would work. And I just find them awesome. Just like anyone who likes things, because it is awesome. And sometimes helpful. If it wasn't for the furry community, I wouldn't have found this story and not become half the man I am today. Which leads to my final point. The story is simply good. Go beyond the sex, which there's only like a handful, and the furry, because people have different interests, and you will find a story about a young man on the fringe of entering the real world and dealing with who he really is. It is well written. The characters are some of the most human you will read, and it's one that deserves to have more attention. Are there flaws? Yeah. Some of the subplots in the book don't really get resolved to the point I wish they could, especially with Corey's friend Saul. And there are some pop culture references that really date it. But that's just me nitpicking. Kyle Gold takes the experience of a high schooler and his journey through the physical, mental, spiritual, and societal aspects to discover who he is and who he wishes to be with for the rest of his life. The last third still hits me with all the emotions. There is actually a great line from the book that really sums everything up. It could be that for the first time, you're opening yourself to something that's been hidden in you all along. That's what Waterways means to me. Again, for some of you, this may not be your cup of tea. And that's fine. We are all allowed to enjoy different things. All I ask is to take a sip. And you may be surprised. Here are the links to the first 2/3 of the book you can read for free. If you really like it and want to see how the story ends, try to buy it from Sofa Wolf Press. Yeah, it's a little more expensive, but I wouldn't promote a publishing house if I didn't feel they deserve every penny they get. I haven't regretted it since. I'm glad I got to share Waterways with you guys, and I hope you enjoy reading it, and maybe hear your opinions about it. Now, what's for next week? Oh dear God! I knew this day was going to come, but I'm still not happy about it. Till next time, have a nice day.